Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to the Third Fleet podcast. I'm here with Gaijin Hunter, and today we're going to be talking about some Monster Hunter stuff. There hasn't really been a whole lot of news. However, we do have a couple of things that we need to touch up on because this is, I think, the second episode of the year, if I'm not mistaken. So there is one thing that I want to run by you to get started. But before that, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I just got back from round 5 of a root canal, so it's almost done. I'm hitting the final stages. We're almost quest clear, so it's getting there.
Listen, I got to tell you, dude, I think that Portuguese dentists, they're way more efficient, dude. I went in there to do that thing, and it was like a wham, bam, Uncle Sam put some silly putty in the hole, and it's like, good to go. Okay, that sounded...
Because you stopped in the middle of the procedure. You didn't actually finish it.
Yeah, it's like, listen, it's still fine. My tooth is fine. It's like no pain whatsoever. It's like, it's great. I do think that the silly putty is slowly falling off. One of these days, I'm going to have to go back there. Hey, can you put some more silly putty in there and then just like put the crown on top or whatever you're supposed to do? Let's actually finish the job this time.
You're crazy.
So far, it's been fine. It's not been a problem.
You're like, if it works, it works.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can eat just fine. I don't have a problem. Sounds good.
But I'm just sleep deprived, but that's your fault.
Yep,
but
that is...
I'm doing good.
That is my fault.
You?
When you told me yesterday that you had only slept like 1 hour and a half, I'm like, what have I done? I've created a monster. We'll talk.
Go
ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's not the first time that's happened recently.
Oh no. We'll talk more about Gaijin's most recent addiction, and it is most definitely my fault. We'll talk more about that later in the podcast.
Let's get some monster.
We got to talk about some Monster Hunter stuff, and one of the things that I wanted to bring up is this was a news article that I saw on the 31st. Well, I didn't see it on the 31st. I saw it a couple of days later. But this is a quote from Ryozo Tsujimoto. I'm not sure if you've seen this quote yet or not.
Well, unless you're gonna give me some Japanese, I'm gonna listen with some skeptical. Go for it.
No, I'm not gonna give you Japanese
because he ain't talking in English. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I believe you, but it's like this was in Nintendo. It's in Nintendo Life, and they say that this is a direct quote from Tsujimoto. They say Tsujimoto is clearly focused on delivering Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, the next DLC offering for the most recent entry in the series, but he adds that there's a big anniversary coming up soon, and that he will have to devote some of next year to prepare for it. And the actual quote is, in 2022, I'd first like to deliver Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which is scheduled for summer to everyone in solid shape. I like the to everyone part, so PCs and consoles like we've been talking about, right? And the Monster Hunter series will celebrate its 20th anniversary in 2024. So I should start making preparations for various things soon.
That reads like a translation. Oh my god.
Oh, so you don't like Gaijin does not approve of this translation.
I want to see what the actual quote. Hang on, I'm looking for the article now.
Okay, you can look for the article.
I want to find out what the actual quote was, because the problem is when people quote a translated thing that he said, they 99 out of 100 times get the nuance slightly wrong. So the thing is, people are trying to read into it, but you're reading into a translation, and it's like you can't. There's no like word choice or like, okay, he said this first and that second. No, you can't do that because it's not what it's not a direct quote. Direct quote would be Japanese. This is a translation of a direct quote.
So I like this. I like this quote a lot because it basically means.
Do you have the article or no?
I mean, I have the Nintendo article, but
they're usually pretty good about putting source of where it came from.
Source via Famitsu, via Jamatsu. Let me see if the Famitsu one is in Japanese.
They're usually good at
this one's in Japanese. I'll send you the Japanese one.
It's one thing I'll call out and say I really appreciate. There's a lot of media sites that will put source. Either one, they don't put a source, or their source is another person who sourced another person who sourced another person, and so you have to like do this like weird chain. And if somebody breaks it, you never get to the original, and it's just like, damn it.
Yeah, but you got the link there.
Oh wow! Can I throw some quick shade on Famitsu?
I mean, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to stop you.
I do this every year on Twitter, and I didn't do it this year because I haven't been buying Famitsu as I used to buy it weekly because there was actual news in there. But now they don't talk. They just give you renders from the website 2 days later on the printed magazine. Like that makes no sense to me.
Like, they give you renders from the printed magazine?
Yeah, there's no news in Famitsu anymore. It's just, I mean, there's some really fascinating interviews, but that's about it. It's just the web is better, so I don't even buy the magazine that much. But when I do, every year they do this thing where they get 100 creators, and they ask them or 127, 127 developers, creators, someone in the game industry, and they talk about, like, what was your favorite game this year?
I remember reading something about that.
And I usually tweet about this because they usually have the same, like 6 or 7 ladies, and everyone else is a dude. Like 120 out of 127. I'm like, there's a lot of women who work in gaming here in Japan that you're just not giving the focus light on. And I was like, stop it. So I always shame them for that. So, okay, so I got the link up now for the actual Japanese article. And so they actually have Ichinose in here as well, which is nice. So let's see. Ryozo, he says, what's your keyword for 2022? Forward momentum, moving forward. What do you have on your plate for 2022? He says, 2022 in the summer, we're planning on releasing Sunbreak. So, more than anything, I want to focus and deliver on that. Also, we're coming up on the 20th anniversary for Monster Hunter in 2024. So, I'm kind of thinking I gotta start thinking about what we're gonna do there.
So it's exactly what the quote was that I said. It's pretty much the same thing.
Okay, well that's good. So that's good because it's often not. Yeah. So like he's rambling on, going like, I need to get off my ass and start thinking about this because it's coming up. Because when he goes "Shikonde ikanaito na," like it's the Japanese are like, yeah, I need to get off my ass and do this. He's like, we haven't really started planning for it. Like we're focused on Sunbreak. We're gonna get that out, and he's like, okay, I it's about time to start thinking about it.
That has to be a lie. There's no way that they're like, oh yeah, we haven't worked on anything up until we haven't done anything. Like, there's no way. There's no way they haven't
for the
done
anniversary.
Anything. No, I mean like specifically for the next project. He's only talking about
the anniversary.
Okay. So it's like. The reason I like this particular quote...
Of course, yeah, they're working on it, but they're not going to say that because he just started with a sentence saying that they're focused purely on making sure that Sunbreak is delivered. So, of course, he's not going to admit it.
But it's like the reason I like this quote so much is because if you remember my video that I did for the prediction of Monster Hunter 6 and...
Oh, did you say 2024?
I said that probably early 2024 or maybe late 2023, like holiday 2023. But we haven't I think
both of us talked about it. Yeah, and we were saying 2024, right? Maybe 25, but said, 24. 25, did I say?
If I remember correctly, I think you even said like summer 2023. I was no. I
would not have said that.
Way.
No, because if Sunbreak is coming out. Oh, we didn't know when Sunbreak was coming out back then.
No, yeah, but I was also saying
because they're going to be at least a year off from that, then another half year for marketing campaign.
I predicted Sunbreak in like September or something because I gave them an extra 3 months for COVID. But if you remove the 3 months that I gave them extra, which means they probably already adapted to their, working from home development and all that, you remove those 3 months from COVID, and I was actually pretty much very close to the summer, basically just landing on summer. So my prediction
I'll give you my new prediction based on this.
For the next Monster Hunter.
Now that we know when Sunbreak's coming out and all that, my prediction is that Sunbreak comes out in summer, so they're not gonna. So I think
it's 2024, dude. It's 2024. There's no way around it. It's going to be early 2024, like February, January 2024.
See, it's just
what like when?
Because the thing is, they have a choice, right? They can announce it around E3 timing in summer 23, saying that it's coming on the anniversary in 24, or if they feel that they want more time to make it be really good, because I mean they know what's on the table here, like there's a lot at stake. Yeah. They might, if they need another year, they might say, you know what, let's tease it in 23, we'll announce it in 24 for the anniversary, and then we'll release it at the end of 24 or early 25, like January.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that I don't think they would know at this point. They wouldn't know at this point.
I think it'll be early 2024 because fiscal year. It seems to me like at least for Japanese games, almost it seems to me like earlier in the year appears to be better. Like you have, if you look, for instance, Bloodborne was early in the year. Sekiro, if I remember correctly, was also early in the year. Elden Ring is early in the year. So like you have like a pattern already for Souls-like games.
I'll give you a
World was January. Like World was January, and what was Rise? Rise was it March? I forget. It was March. Yeah. So it's like earlier in the year, and that's like right at the end of the fiscal quarter, whatever, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to be going for January again for the next one for the console.
But 2025?
No, I think 24 is possible, but I think it all depends on how development goes.
Yeah.
I think if they needed to buy another year, they would, because there's so much riding on it. But so I don't know. I don't think they know. Like games, people probably don't know. I mean, you would know, but like games, let's say you have a game that's in development for like 5 years, it actually only really becomes truly playable in the last like year. Like up until then, you're mass producing assets and you're testing out game design. So like
some of the
game and everything really comes together in the final stretch, and so.
Some of the releases we've been having last couple of years, it seems like they've only been playable for the month before release.
or maybe the release was when the first playable version, right?
We got it to work with duct tape like a week ago. We put some duct tape
early access is just a fancy way of saying first playable. and demo is a way of saying vertical slice.
Early access nowadays is a way of saying like you do free QA for us, and not in Monster Hunter specifically, mind you, because Monster Hunter games have been coming out pretty polished in my opinion, especially compared to some of the other stuff that comes out on the market. But
no, I think January works really good because it gets them away from the Western holiday season, which is actually really important. And people are like, no, Monster Hunter is a mainstream game. It can battle. No, you don't understand. Like, you make less money.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the problem is if you release it in November, it's too late to get there in time for everyone's Christmas shopping. If you release it in September, then you're on the end of your fiscal, which is bad because you need to tell the stockholders what the year is going to end at, and you need an indication. If you release in October, it means that you have to have it on sale for Black Friday. And so you're going to lose more money. But if you know that you're going to sell 30 million units like GTA or something, then like you'll go for it. And the marketing dollars you have to spend is crazy. January, man, I think Capcom can own January going forward as like the Capcom month because it's perfect. And then like I don't know if it's true, but I heard something like in Europe, like I don't know if this could be just I could be misinterpreting something, but people get money from relatives and stuff like in the New Year's?
No, we get money from relatives in Christmas.
Christmas, okay. So maybe it's the thing where they're saying like, I heard that.
What usually happens is I think, isn't it like Boxing Day or whatever, where after Christmas, because people stock up for Christmas in retail stores.
Lots of sales.
There's lots of sales going on during January.
Yeah,
so
and people use all the money they got from relatives to buy stuff.
Yeah.
So like early, mid-January is a great month for purchasing
I completely
and selling
agree.
stuff, even if it's new.
Yep.
So
I 1,000% agree. Yeah, I think that is the case.
But that's exciting. So 2024. I didn't realize it's already coming on the 20th anniversary. Did you see the press release that just went out like an hour ago?
No, there's a press release from 1 hour.
Yeah, no. Not even like 30 minutes ago or an hour ago, but Rise hit 8 million.
Oh, that I've seen. I'm bringing that up a little bit later in the podcast. But
okay, so sorry. So
I haven't seen the press release,
what
but I know how many sales it made. Yeah.
Yes, but I will agree. Your radar is locked on.
Yeah.
I think we can smell it. It's like,
and
there it is.
And for a lot of people, you guys might be thinking, guys, Sunbreak's not even out. You're already thinking about the next one. Yes, but we're not going to talk about Sunbreak because they're going to bring out like more news in spring. So right now, what we have for Sunbreak is like Elgato, Malzeno, and Lunogaron, and Rondine's sister. Okay, that's what we have for Sunbreak right now.
I'm actually really surprised they're going to wait till spring to do the next news drop. I'll be honest, I did not see that coming because Common Sense and Capcom is breaking from their mold here. They almost always, in most companies here in Japan, for that matter, even in the West, start their marketing campaigns like in earnest 6 months out from release. So if it's coming out in summer, but they're going to start really marketing it in spring, that means it's probably a July or August release. They're definitely going to want to hit July because they want to get summer break.
Dude, which is just like, dude, it's getting closer and closer to that September date that I predicted, dude. It's closer. Imagine dude, it'd be hilarious if in spring they come on and they say, okay, guys, we have to delay it for a month. And I'm like, nailed it.
Nailed it. Well, the thing is, they also have a lot of flexibility, right? Because their fiscal ends, and there's 2 fiscal ends, right? Depending on the company. I don't know what actually decides it, but their fiscal end is the end of March, I believe. And end of September is another big one for other companies. I want to say I think theirs is at the end of March because that's when they release their like end of year reports, and then they say, next year we're expecting to make this much money, and we have some unannounced big titles, like 2 big titles, because they have to say it because they have to give their predictions so that people know what they're investing in. So September is like a juicy timing for them. Like, and they have leverage, right? They can sit there and say, okay, is everything else selling really well this year? Do we need to get out this fiscal? They don't worry about any of that when it comes to summer fall. Like, it's not their end of year.
See, so it's like if we really look at things, it seems like I've predicted the release date better than they announced it.
Yeah, so I think July, August, so second quarter, right? July, August, September. That's definitely the window. It's got to be because if you release anything before that, then why would they wait until spring to start doing trailers for it? That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So, but even if it comes out in like August, that's not a half a year of marketing. That's only like 4 months. 4 or 5 months. So it's like, wow, okay, they're spend less on marketing maybe because maybe they just realize that, people are going to, it's an expansion. It's
yeah, it's because like if you look,
bigger campaign will be actually better because,
if you look at like
too long of a campaign.
If you look at like what happened with Iceborne, like it sold a lot less than Base World. Like Base World was, I don't know, 10 million, whatever. And Iceborne was only a fraction of that. I don't remember the actual numbers at this point. So maybe they're like, okay, we don't need to break our bank here marketing Sunbreak. The people who want to get it probably already know they want to get it. And so we can save some of this budget for the next one and actually just go ham at that point, which is...
Yeah.
When is the actual anniversary, by the way? Like, when in the year? Do you know?
That's a really good... I don't even know. What a fan I am.
Because I have an excuse, and that is that I have terrible memory. Everybody that's ever been on one of my streams, they know my memory is terrible. So it's just...
I'm old, so my what do you call it? My perception of time is warped. Yeah. I thought the 15th anniversary was like 3 years ago or 2 years ago. Actually, I might be right. That's weird. Okay. It feels like just yesterday. I'll put it that way.
It feels like yesterday.
I mean, yesterday I was wearing my 15th anniversary shirt that I got from their venue. So so it's March 11th, 2000. Oh, wow.
March 11th.
Can you imagine they released Monster Hunter 6 on the 20th anniversary? March 11th. It's perfect.
It
2004, so 2024.
It lines up, dude. So
it lines up. It would be perfect.
But wait. The 20th anniversary is 2024. Yeah, makes sense. So
March 11th is a great release date. That would be perfect.
So they could do the announcement at like around the holiday season 2023.
Yeah,
which would still give them those 6 months. Dude, that's it. That's it.
That's it.
It's like everybody's like super hyped up on gaming during holiday season, and they're just like, by the way, guys,
boom.
We heard you guys liked Monster Hunter World. Here's what the sequel's gonna look like. Bam! Jeff Keighley comes out on stage, world premiere.
Yeah, because the cool thing going forward.
Listen, he's got Kojima on his lap, okay? Jeff Keighley comes out on stage, Kojima to announce Monster Hunter World. And then Ryozo's sitting next to him just like being, that's weird, dude. That's some weird thing you got going there. You guys are taking this bromance a little bit too far.
But put the tinfoil on my hat. I'm a believer. I think it lines up as well. The stars align.
Yep. So, like I said,
really quick. The article didn't mention Ichinose at all, which is kind of sad.
No. The article that we're talking about didn't mention Ichinose. So, what was the Ichinose quote?
So this is, what's your keyword for the 2022? The release of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Of course, he would say that, even though he's not working on it directly. I mean, but like,
is the other director in there? I forget his name.
I don't think so. No,
I forget his name.
I don't know.
Damn it! I'm so sorry.
I think it's Suzuki-san, but I don't know his first name.
Okay.
Which is common in Japan. We don't know each other's first names. I've had a job where I worked with people for like 3 years and I didn't know their first name because you don't ever call anybody by their first name.
Very formal.
Which is funny is I asked my daughter what they nickname her at school because no one calls anybody by their actual names. And she told me that the majority of people are abbreviating part of her last name. And so they don't even call her Yuna. They call her Eve. And I'm like, oh, that's just perfect. Adam and Eve. and my brother is Steve. So Adam and Eve and Adam and Steve. It's perfect. We got the whole shebang. Okay, so it says, I'm sorry. That was just a fun little randomness. So it says, what do you have on your plate for 2022? Yeah, so he says at this point he's looking for that next thing that he can throw himself into, like fully, like just become obsessed with creating and going nuts on like one focused project, and that's what he's looking at right now, which is great because I mean he's letting people know that like Sunbreak is not his baby. He's handed that off to another director. He's looking for that next big thing that he can just devote himself to. And then he says, and he says, I have some interest in Minecraft. I don't even know why he says that because it's not on his plate.
Minecraft. They're making.
But he says Animal Crossing doesn't end, so it's probably gonna remain on his backlog for a while. So he's like kind of interested in playing Minecraft, but he's still apparently he must be addicted to Animal Crossing.
I'm thinking like, you know how they did Dragon Quest Builder? They're making Monster Hunter Builder where you have to build a village.
Oh gosh.
That might actually be interesting. You could even have it be like with the Palico so that you would go into the more cute aspect of it and people wouldn't think it was weird. Who knows? But anyway, like I said, we're not going to be touching too much on Sunbreak because we're going to be getting news pretty soon, so there's not a whole lot to talk about. Pretty soon.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing because I just noticed before I closed down the tab, they say what do you have your eye on in 2022, and usually all these creators are talking about technologies or platforms like, oh wow, VTubers are blowing up, and I think there's some cool synergy opportunities, or they're paying lip service to their their fellow comrades, saying like, oh, like FF is great, and I can't wait to play it. And Ryozo says, pressure on the new director. So Suzuki's probably like, oh shit.
That reminds me of there was that Sony used to do this event. I don't know if they still plan on doing it or not. The PlayStation Experience. There was one that they did where it was Sean Layden back when he was still in Sony, and Cory Barlog, and there was like a conversation between him and Cory Barlog and the guy who was directing Ghost of Tsushima. And every time that Cory Barlog would say anything, Sean Layden would turn around and just say, "Finish the game, Cory. finish the game. You got to finish God of War. Like Corey couldn't even say anything. He would just say anything, and Sean would be like, finish the game, Corey. You got to finish the game. That's Ryozo to the new Dragon. He's like, finish the game. Figure it out. Not my problem. But yeah, like I was saying, Sunbreak will talk more when there's more news to talk about, and in case there's leaks, because sometimes there's leaks and people might be wondering, there was this leak or that leak. Me and Gaijin, we don't report on leaks because we want the teams to be able to announce stuff at their own pace because it makes it more interesting. So,
amen. Amen.
Because we're covering content, but at the same time, we're also fans of the game, and we want to experience things as sometimes developers give you a reason not to trust them. It's never been the case with the Monster Hunter team, so we're going to be respecting that for anyone wondering. Now,
I mean, there was nothing more sad than half the reactions to Monster Hunter Rise when you watch them are, the rumors were true, the leaks were true.
Yeah.
When it should be, oh my God, I can't believe there's a new Monster Hunter. And half that surprise has been divided into two different moments. One when you saw the leak and one when you saw the announcement. And while there's still joy, it's not the same. And they work hard to create that moment. You should let yourself have that moment with them.
It always surprises me how people don't understand like the joy of experiencing something for the first time, because a lot of people don't get that. It's kind of weird. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about events in Monster Hunter Rise. What was the event last week? Do you know? Because I've been playing on the PC now, so I didn't get to see what was the last event that got added. You don't know. But I wanted to ask you about Allmother anyway, because
it's your
Allmother
fault,
was the one.
But I don't know what was added, but that's
your fault. It is my fault. But like, how was Allmother, the Super Allmother?
Why do I feel like we talked about this? Or maybe we did offline.
Because we talked about it not on the podcast, and now I'm bringing it up in the podcast so that people know.
See, people don't realize our podcast is just us talking. It's not really. We don't plan any of this out, except for sometimes I might overplan if we have a guest. But gosh. So Super Allmother we were looking forward to, and so it came, and we get in there. And Ibushi, he's harder to flinch, like when he's up in the air when you're on the cannonballs. Yeah. I think either you have to be really prepared for it or really good with your aim, or maybe he just doesn't flinch down from it. I don't know.
I've broken all of the cannons with all of that stuff, and he did not flinch.
Yeah,
he just kept on going.
He flinches down.
No.
He just goes, at the end, and that's it. And then you go on and you fight him. But like he was okay. It's okay, so they gave him a little bit more health maybe. I don't know about damage because it's Ibushi. Like, that's like walking into a stop sign, in my opinion. After I've done so many Ibushis at this point that if I get hit by him, it's on purpose, or I'm just goofing around, like I want to fly or something. So we get down to Allmother, and I didn't get hit the entire hunt, and so I didn't notice a difference except for the second phase. She's got 3 phases, and in second phase, she started doing phase 3 moves. I was like, ooh, that's cool. Because that's the harder phase, right? And to have her doing that earlier is probably going to be harder for some people. Yeah. But when you've done phase 3 like 300-400 times, then it's kind of like, I actually prefer this phase more. So it's, that was funny. So I didn't get hit, so I didn't know. So I had to purposely get hit at the end. So I could see, I was like, is she a one-shot or like what's going on? I was like,
She
Yuna's like, no, as a gunner, she hits harder.
Yeah, she can be a one-shot if you're not careful.
Yeah, especially if you're a gunner, I'm assuming. But we had a lot of fun with it, but I think we overdid it. I think we overdid the hunt so much that we can do it naked. So it's like the Super Allmother, unless they're changing up the whole moveset, it doesn't do anything for us. But it was still, if anything, actually, that was satisfying. The fact that we don't have to grind this hunt. The fact that it's our new, like when we play, we always do like 20 Allmothers that night just to have fun. Yeah. Like now that'll be the de facto one that we use is that quest instead of the other one. So, it's great. It's an upgraded version of what the quest we already love.
So I thought it was interesting that someone brought up on Twitter like, oh, this monster is like a love letter to you and Gaijin. I'm like, well, Gaijin and Yuna, maybe. I don't give a damn about
Yeah, you don't like All Mother.
It's not like I don't like her. I'm just saying like she's nothing.
You don't hunt her. You didn't hunt her to extinction.
No, I didn't. I didn't like spend that much time hunting.
I think Yuna's got like 450 kills or 500 now, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
But it's like one of the reasons why I don't hunt All Mother that much is because she is a terrible matchup for Gunlance. And the Super All Mother definitely showed that, and I was very sad. Like I tried a couple of different sets, and then eventually someone in my chat just said, "You should just do Slapland." No, you should just do Slaplands, and I was like, "Oh no." It's just like Monster Hunter. It's just like Monster Hunter World. Yeah, it's just like Monster Hunter World Iceborne all over again, which is after you do Fatalis, the best gun lance is a slap lance. And I was just like, no, not this again. And so I did it.
Slap lance was fun.
And so,
Fatalis slap lance is very fun.
But basically, I just decided, okay, what's the biggest damage gun lance that I can get? And it is Tigrex, because it's got white sharpness.
Oh, no, Tigrex.
Okay. It's got like already full sharpness, and it's got lots of raw. And I was like, okay, let's grab a Tigrex gun lance, some Teostra pieces for the critical, just basically deck it out like a melee weapon, and with 2 evade extend or whatever. So it had like all the bells and whistles of melee minus like a couple of critical boosts or something. And I go in there. And it was disgusting. I was beating her down. Like I chopped the tail every single time because I wasn't shelling. So every single time the tail would come off, and I was like, yeah, I can do the fight. It's not that hard. It's also not that fun because there's no shelling, and that's like the key aspect of the gun lance. And I was like, I
think you should shell. That's the challenge, is to figure out how.
Yeah, I'll eventually
shell.
I'll eventually do it. It's just like right now, obviously, I'm playing through Rise on the PC, and I don't want to be okay. Now I'm playing Rise here, and now I'm playing Rise there, and it's going to be like a big mess, right? So
I feel the trick is going to be evade level 5. I think you're going to
evade window?
Lancing it.
No,
yeah, I think evade lancing and backstepping and popping off on her might be the way. I don't know.
No, because she has a lot of her attacks have like multiple hits. So
that would
even if you're trying to evade, even if you're evade windowing 5, I'm not sure you're gonna make it through every single hit of her attack. So I don't know.
Well, it might be something for me to play around with. Maybe I'll take up, because I've played a gun lance against her, but then again, I'm so into slap lance because you got me into that. So maybe that's what I did.
It's like I just wish that at the end of a monster hunting game, because like if you think about it, for instance, Generations Ultimate, it was also the same thing. It's like you go to any guide online, because I would actually go to guides because I didn't play Generations that much, and everybody's like, yeah, forget about the shelling. The shelling is there to max out the heat gauge. I was like, it's literally the defining characteristic of this weapon. Let me shoot things with my gun lance, please. Yeah, that always makes me sad. And then on top of it, I remember that I did like a weapons video for people who were playing on a PC. So I watched a little bit of gameplay footage from bowguns, and I just saw a heavy bowgun dealing 700 damage with a wyvern fire, and I'm just like, I can't even do half that damage with a long shelling gun lance with maxed out artillery. That's sad. That's some next level sadness. And I think at some point they actually nerfed the damage of gun lance and didn't even talk about it in the patch note. I think they're just like, yeah, we're nerfing shelling. I'm like, why? It's already the worst weapon in the game. What else can you? Anyway, I don't want to go on to another gun lance tirade. Yeah. I just want to talk about All Mother and all that, and that's So
I mean, the shocking thing is I don't know if or when we're actually going to go back and do a lot of the event quests, because we hit a point where Yuna was not a big fan of doing the super apexes, because she felt it's weird, because she felt that, well, one, all the apexes are like the monsters she hates the most anyways, because she, like I told you, I love monsters that charge at you, and that's exactly who they gave most of the apexes to, were monsters that charge straight at you most of the time. So she's not a fan of those. But I mean, she likes Mizutsune, but I think she was starting to feel like, at her level of gaming, I think she's like, because she plays Gunner, and you get those things a one shot of Gunner.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of like, I have to go get the birds. And I remember I keep telling you she hates grinding, and she hates what she feels is tedious. She does not like grabbing the birds. She doesn't.
A lot of players don't.
She would rather die than to go pick up one damn bird. Where I have my roots, and I'm like, pew, 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 grab the birds. I'm like, just grab some birds. They're super powerful. And like, she's like, nah.
I actually have a poll that I did on that. Let me see what the results were. So, Monster Hunter Rise, what do you think about Spiribirds as a preparation aspect of your hunt? 26% of people said I like it, a little parkour ahead of the hunt. This is 11,000 votes, by the way. I like it, a little parkour ahead of the hunt. This is 26%. The other 26% said, I don't like it, it's a chore. So it's like there's 26% right split down the middle there. Then 41% of people said, I am neutral on it. So they don't care either way. And then 4% of people said they despise it and it makes the game way worse. So not a lot of people completely despise it, but a lot of people don't like it. Like if you add those two together, you got
They're
like 30% of people don't like the mechanic overall, right? And then 40% are neutral, and then the rest of them, they're like, it's fine, it's a little parkour. So I'll tell you what, I started enjoying those events more when I started looking at Spiribirds as a form of preparation, which, like we've talked about previously, was something that never even occurred to me until someone said in chat, you guys are right. This is like preparation. It's weird because you're so used to preparing outside of the hunt, and then preparing in the hunt just feels kind of weird. But after I started picking up the birds,
even grabbing puppet spiders and stuff if you're into, like I do, like that's another part of the preparation phases. Quick, go to camp 2, grab the spider, grab the 3 birds. Yeah.
It's so yeah, you got that aspect to it, and that actually made me like it more because I was getting one shot repeatedly, and then after getting the birds, I'm like, okay, this is actually easy. Although it actually skewed the thing all the way in the other direction. It's just like, this is now
too easy.
now I'm just playing like I was literally playing with Super Apex Rathalos. Like I was going, flying after him with the Gunlance and saying, I'm the real king of the sky, trying to dunk him out of the sky and just do silly stuff like that. It's like, so we went from getting one shot to me basically doing standoffs with him and trying to shoot him out of the sky. It's like, okay, it went the exact opposite direction, but it was still fun. I still enjoyed those events quite a bit.
Yeah, and we played the game so hardcore for so long. I mean, I have over 750 hours on it, which to some people that's not a lot, but I've never put that much hours into a base game ever. Like that's the most. I usually put in like 400, and then I'll put in like 800, 900 on the expansion.
In World, my playtime was disgusting. In Base World, I had 1,600 hours.
Well, you're also a streamer.
Yeah, I was streaming, making 1,600 hours, and that's not counting the time on PC. And then eventually, when Iceborne came out, it was 2,600 hours. That's insane. But in Rise, I have over 700.
Yes, I almost feel like because she's been addicted to Among Us, I've been addicted to another game, and I think we both hit a point where we stuffed ourselves full to a point that we're very happy. I think what we're going to do is I don't feel like we want to keep playing it, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to stock them. And I think what's going to happen is once Sunbreak starts coming closer to release, we're going to be like, let's clean up. And then we're going to have a lot of fun for like a month or something.
There's a friend of mine that's doing, my longsword friend is doing the exact same thing. He's banking all those events, and then he's going to be like, Ruri, come on, let's go do these events, dude. And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. So I'm not really keeping too much track of things these days.
Yeah.
But Super All Mother, I was happy to see a small change in the hunt. So yeah. I was really hoping though that there would be some type of change with the monster that comes in, but there wasn't.
No, there wasn't. And as a matter of fact, I got Teostra.
Master Rank.
I got Teostra in one of my attempts, and I actually failed to finish. And I was like, oh my god, This is so embarrassing.
He is the worst.
This never happened. He's actually not.
He is the worst.
He's actually not. It's all about
Kushala is not
move.
the worst. No, Kushala is
Kushala is not the worst. But it's about the moves that you do, because I was super greedy, and it's like, he has that move where he just stands on his hind legs like blah, like big.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna burn you so bad, and every time I tried doing that, and I was like, nope.
You get hit.
Nope. No. And I was like, no. But Teostra actually has a really good move, which I don't remember which input it is, but he has a move where he basically slaps and it explodes. So it's a very quick slap and blast. And it actually deals a decent amount of damage. So that's how I started getting her when I got Teostra. But yeah, that's all Mother. That's events for Rise and all of that stuff. But another small thing has happened since the last podcast, and that is the launch of Monster Hunter Rise.
PC version.
On PC, which I have been live streaming. I've been going ham. It's been pretty fun because I purposefully chose to play a different weapon, which was in World. It was actually this is the interesting thing that a lot of people don't know, because everybody knows me as the Gunlance guy. In base Monster Hunter World, my most played weapon was the Charge Blade.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Because I also really like the Charge Blade. And if you go and you watch,
I know why now. No, it makes sense. You like weapons that deal low numbers.
I thought you were gonna say because of the time that Sox was here. You like the better sword and shield.
No. I mean, no. I was gonna tease you and say you like the weapons that got the bad end of the stick. You like the.
No, but it's
like the one.
A big part of me playing Charge Blade was the fact that there was a lot of people saying Charge Blade is bad. Charge Blade is bad. And here's what I got to say about that. And I know that a lot of people are not going to agree, but my interpretation of the whole Charge Blade situation is people got used to SAD spam. They got really used to it because in World, it was really tightly clustered. And you could just like, bam, here's all my files. Bam, here's all my files. And land those files every single time. And in Rise, you can't do that. You have to plan.
Yeah.
You can only SAD at a certain point in time. You can't SAD. And people talk about the hitboxes of the SADs and all of this stuff. Here's what I can tell you from my PC experience. I don't know if they've changed it since the launch of Rise on Switch or not, because I didn't play that much of it on Switch. I usually can tell whether or not I'm going to land most of the files on a monster, depending on the state the monster is in, depending on like the size of the monster, depending on all those factors. I can kind of predict, okay, this is going to land or this is not going to land, which I think is important. And to be honest, and I know that a lot of people are not going to like me saying this, I actually like the fact that SAD is not the default thing, because it forces you to think about other moves that the weapon has, because the weapon has a ton of moves. Like one of the things that, for instance, a lot of people don't even consider is like the double slash into shield thrust, which is so fast. So you can just go up to a monster and be like, slash, slash, shield thrust, slash, slash, shield thrust. You just spam that, and you're landing impact. If you're playing impact, you're landing impact files, and the monster's like, just like files exploding all over the place. And I find that to be really fun. And then when the monster gives you an opening, can then spinning slash, spin around. I even started using advanced morphing slash, which I thought was complete garbage. Like if you go back a couple of podcasts in Rise,
it's for repositioning. Oh my God.
We talked about it in during the demo days, and I remember telling you, dude, I hate this move. This move is terrible. I can't stand it. It's like, no, I'm just like jumping in, spinning around. It's like it's really fun. I really, really like it. I think the weapon is actually in a pretty good place. Maybe they need to, because of just looking at the speedrun numbers and whatnot, maybe they need to buff the damage a little bit or something. But overall, I had a blast. The one thing that I had to like stop playing it for a little bit is because I missed my Gunlance. So obviously I had to play a little bit of Gunlance. I've been abusing monsters with the Mighty Corn Popper, because that's just like the best early wide shelling Gunlance.
No, you have to commit Charge Blade. Commit.
No, it's like, the thing is, I want to do Elemental Charge Blade, and that is going to require a serious amount of farming. And I don't want to just be playing Impact the whole time, because I get bored. I get bored of just playing Impact files the whole time. So I'm swapping it up and doing different things. And it was actually weird, because when I got to Axe Hopper, I thought, oh, I'm just going to go Unga Bunga now. but I got so used to counter peak performance. That counter is like busted. It's broken.
It's so good.
Like, dude, that is insane. So I
Ching, boom.
I actually think, at least on the PC version, again, I don't know if it's that different from the starting Rise version or not, but on the PC version, I think Charge Blade is looking really good. Yeah. So I like
the weapon because I never got into SAD spamming because I fell in love with the weapon in Monster Hunter 4 before it came out in the West, and there was no SAED. Like, it didn't exist. It was
even in 4 Ultimate, it didn't have SAD. Yeah, SAD was a world thing. Yeah, it wasn't even in Generations.
Huh? No.
What? The SAD, the Super Amped Elemental Discharge that has the lightnings follow it? No, that's not in Generations.
No, I mean, what? Hang on what?
I mean, I didn't play it that much in Generations, but I
thought that was a move. No, I thought they added that in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate.
No. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. There's the big explosion. I mean, maybe it's called SAD. What I'm saying is it doesn't have like the file discharges that goes pa 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 pa. It doesn't have.
Oh yeah, they changed the effect, but the whole like charging the axe and then
you charge the axe.
A bigger
and then,
finisher that was
but that was
from 4G.
That's called the AED, the Amped Elemental Discharge. It's like this.
Wow. Okay. Well, my memory must be bad.
I don't know. You guys let us know, because I have someone that back when we were doing Generations Ultimate, this person would always play Charge Blade, and I've never once seen the files go like ba 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 ba. I'm pretty sure that's not a thing. What we did have in GU is that sweet energy blade that I hope that they bring back in Sunbreak.
Yeah, I just looked. I'm right. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate had super amped elemental discharge.
I wonder what they consider that to be, because it's not the files discharging. It's just like you charge up the axe.
It's a huge boom, and everything gets KO'd.
It's one explosion.
Stole the whole show.
Yeah, but it's like one explosion.
It was much more powerful back then. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was busted. It was busted because it had way more KO than it has now. Is it okay? So
God, I thought I was going insane. Okay, I'm so happy.
You can consider it the same move, but it's like what I'm saying is it doesn't have the files following through. It's a different thing.
The nerfed version.
Whatever.
Man, it was so busted in 4U. Oh my God! But I didn't use it. I didn't touch it much in 4U because you could do it right after a guard point, and it was ridiculous. Yeah. But I always went back into the old AED or the double swing, because that's how we played it in 4, and I really loved it back then.
Yeah.
And I put it probably a good 700 hours in that, and so
that thing with the spinning slash, it feels so good, because like you hold the button down, and as you hold it down, it goes like zzzz, like just like chainsaws through the monster. God, it's so satisfying, dude.
It's a fun weapon, though. I think a small little buff is all it needs, and
unless the monster has like a tough hide, then it's not that fun anymore. Because you hear that ding 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 ding, and I'm like, that's not fun. I want to hear the friggin' metal carving into flesh. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like chainsawing through him. But yeah, I've been having a blast with that.
What I always thought would be kind of nice if they would do it is for the weapons that are like visually really big severing weapons, like the axes, right?
Yeah.
Like it would be or maybe even the greatsword. It'd be kind of nice if they had like a natural part breaker skill for cutting stuff. Like they cut better, because like you could just sit there at a sword and shield and go pew 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 and a Rathalos tail and it pops off. But it would be kind of nice if like weapons like the Charge Blade, which are a little bit more bulkier, have an advantage with, they can cut stuff faster. I always thought that would be a nice little tweak.
Gunlance has explosions. Just saying. Just saying. I already run Part Breaker 3 on Gunlance, which everybody tells me that's not an optimal skill, Rurikhan. I don't care.
Yes, it is.
I like hearing the sound. I live for that cracking sound. I love it. But the Monster Hunter Rise on PC, it's running great. It's really, really smooth for me. There's been an issue for some people. They're having like a save file bug.
Save data thing? Yeah, I saw something.
They actually cannot play, and I was like, oh no. And there's a lot of people that are getting that. I mean, I don't know if it's a lot of people, but there's a significant amount of people that have told me I've gotten that bug. I can't play the game. Do you have any news? Do you know when they're fixing it? It's like I don't know, guys. I know they're aware of it. That's pretty much all I know at this point. But that's one of the things that I always tell people. It's one of the biggest downsides that you can have about developing for PC is the fact that essentially it's impossible to test all the hardware. It's impossible. There's too much. There's too many different combinations of hardware, and at some point, a certain amalgamation of hardware combined together is going to produce some kind of like unexpected result, and that's what you're witnessing.
It's like releasing a game on 10,000. Well, that's a low number. Like 100,000 platforms. Like
even
each
that
one has different.
Even that is
speeds,
a low number.
Millions. Yeah, it's
because like you can have like, okay, I can have this AMD processor with this NVIDIA card, or this NVIDIA Intel processor with this AMD card, or the other. And then there's like infinite combinations you can have, and then it can be like, oh yeah, but this motherboard has this thing, or this SSD, or this NVMe drive. And it's like, I don't know. It's weird. Like I'm just happy.
Then you
that
have to worry about software interfering with, what's running in the background, and
I'm just happy it ran on my 6900 XT because like 14, before I did like some stuff to it, it basically would crash randomly because of my GPU, and I was like, oh no. I had to like swap some stuff in the game folder to change it to render in Vulkan and doing all these things. And I was like, yes. But yeah, it's running fine for me. I know that some people are having difficulties, and like I said, I'm gonna keep asking Jono about it, and eventually, I'm hoping that it'll hit me back, and then I'll let people know what is going on. But yeah, that's the PC launch, and we recently, as you said, received a PR. I mean, I haven't really seen the press release itself. I just saw like the news headline that Monster Hunter Rise has reached 8 million copies, which is really, really good. And I find it interesting. Did they release numbers before was it 7 million before the PC version came out? Or am I wrong there? I don't remember. No, I don't remember if they released numbers before the PC version. But obviously,
yeah. So it was in May. They had 7.5 million. And
look at that.
And now they've the very initial push of the PC platform, and then sales up until that point has
surpassed 8 million.
Has surpassed 8 million. And I think that's just a good thing to call out, because it's just like it's still selling. So
and the thing is,
good.
The thing is, we have to keep in mind that it is a staggered release. So the fact that despite being a staggered release, right, instantly like 500,000 sales, or probably even more, because they say it's more than 8 million. Yeah. It's insane. It's really, really good. And again, with them releasing day and date, I think we're going to see even bigger numbers on the next one, because it's going to be on all platforms and all of that jazz. And if our predictions are correct, which, I mean, I don't know if you agree with that or not, but if the prediction of crossplay, potentially in no, you don't think it's happening for 6 for the next Monster Hunter game? Dude, they have to. There's no way.
I want it to happen, but do I think they will?
There's no way they won't. That has to be the next big thing. That has to be the next big thing for Monster Hunter. There's no way they can't do it.
Oh my God, I'd love it.
Yeah. I think that'd be amazing. But we shall see. And alongside the release of Monster Hunter Rise PC, I've noticed that there appears to be like a resurgence in Monster Hunter content. Like a lot of people are coming in with more content. Like websites are doing like tier lists. Great. And it's insane. Like just today I was looking up, and there's like a bunch of tier lists. Like, here's the best dual blades. Here's the best. And I was thinking about, man, I should go look at some of those. But then I was like, okay, let's not be toxic. Let's not be toxic. Maybe I should not do it. Let them have their moment. Let's just like, okay, you guys go do your thing. And yeah, sure. But yeah, I have to say, okay, I did peek into the dual blades one, and dude was literally like, oh, the Diablos dual blades. And I was like, Diablos dual blades? I don't know about that. I mean, they might be good, but if I remember correctly, Diablos dual blades have like terrible affinity, right? And they don't even have an element, and dual blades is the one weapon where you can use element. So I don't know about that, but whatever. So long as people are having fun and they're creating content, I think it's good stuff. And I've been seeing a big resurgence in people going for my Rise guides. Like people going back and like just like, oh man, this guide's so good. It's good. I was like, oh, thank God. Look at those guides going now. So it's almost like a second life to all of that content that I've spent time creating, which is really, 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 really good. But yeah.
That's awesome.
So you haven't played you've played the PC version a little bit, I know, and then you had the what is it called? The HDR problem with shadow play.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the game. That's
I know.
Understanding the PC platform and being an idiot.
But because people,
it runs so nice.
Because people wanted to get your opinion, and you never ended up making that video. So why don't you go ahead?
I know. Well, I recorded. I was gonna make it, and then I've been so busy
playing Final Fantasy.
Due to your
14.
fault. That I just haven't got. At this point, I'm really like, and I was gonna make a video because I was provided a copy for review purposes.
Yeah, me too.
And I played it for several hours, and I really, really liked it. And I decided in the end that there's a few reasons why I wasn't gonna play it. But I was like, man, for people who waited, they're getting the best version. Like, it's really good. And so, like, I feel great about it. But like, it seems to be the general consensus. So I don't feel me adding onto that is going to help much.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a certain part of me that doesn't like the PC platform for the fact that, one, I'm not well versed in it, and two, most of the comments are, hey, do you know how this runs on a 960 or a 950 or a 970 or what? I'm like, I don't know. I only know my own computer. Like, and even that I don't know well.
See, that was actually very useful for me that you tested it out on your end, because that gave me like 3 systems that I could report on. I was like, okay, guys, so this is running great on my 6900 XT. It's running great on my... Dude, the thing that blows my mind is how well the thing runs on my laptop. My like 4-year-old laptop, okay, which has a 1070 on it. But it's like, even a laptop with a 1070, people need to understand it's like it's a mobile, because like 1070 version and 1070 on a laptop, these are 2 different things. The 1070 on a like actual rig is a more powerful
big boy.
Yeah, it's a more powerful card than the one on the laptop. It's just the same chip. But the laptop version of the 1070 is able to run the game 1440p max settings, 60 FPS, and I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." Like, I would not have expected that. Like, anything running it. I don't think it even runs Final Fantasy 14 at 1440p at solid 60, which is the game from 2013. So it's like, I was really blown away. It's very well optimized.
One of the problems also with PC games, especially this game in particular, is that it's so good that it basically ruins every other game for a few hours. Because when you go from something that's smooth to any other game that's not as smooth, it's like jarring. It's incredibly jarring, and it's like, oh, and then your eyes have to, it feels like you're watching, like a GIF, and you're just like, okay, and then your eyes adjust, and then you start filling in the frames, and it feels smooth again. Yes, I said GIF.
I can't believe you said that.
I purposely did.
I know you did. You're terrible.
I was going to say slideshow. And then in a half second inside my brain, I said, yeah, but this is a good opportunity to say GIF and piss them off. I was like, yes, let's say GIF. Hey, movies are just moving pictures, my friend.
Sure. I'm not sure how that is related, but sure, I guess. Okay.
GIF.
But yeah, and here's another interesting thing, which is, the sword things from Rise, the hidden swords. I know that you've done them all. I haven't. And because I never cared too much about it. Like, I wanted to do it, but then I was like, I don't know, because just looking up a guide and not discovering it is not as interesting to me. Like, okay, so
there's a few on
I
there
can look at, I know that I'll probably never find, because I remember Chris tweeting about that.
The one that Chris couldn't find, and he's like, can you look in the guide? And I told him what it was. I'm like, I would have never found this ever in my life. Like, I was like, and so at that point I didn't feel guilty, because I was like, I would never ever find this.
But it's not about feeling guilty. It's just, I think it's more fun to discover it organically. And in a way, I'm happy that I didn't do it on the Switch, because Here's an interesting thing. Because of the visual detail, and it's not something that affects your gameplay at all. And it can because it's 60 FPS. Obviously, you can play better if the game is running smoother. But overall, like I've said, like I've played 700 hours on a Switch. Love it, right? But on the PC side of things, like I'm going through the map and organically I can spot things that I wouldn't be able to see on the Switch because of the lower detail.
It's so
and so like for instance, I remember this one of the things that really blew my mind is like I'm just going through Frost Islands, and I think I was looking for Zamites or whatever to make one of the camps that is in there, and I'm going through and I'm exploring the map and I look and I'm like, there's a hole in that wall. I've never seen that, and I go in there and there's a sword in there and I'm like, what the hell? And then the other time, I'm in the flooded forest and I'm doing the shortcut. You know, the shortcut that goes from behind? I'm doing that shortcut. And as I'm sliding, like I'm literally sliding super fast. And I'm like, wait a minute. I stop sliding. I look back. I think I saw a hole in there. And I go back and there's a hole in there and there's a sword in there too. And I'm like, dude, what is that? Like I've 1,000% picked up more swords on PC than I did on the Switch. Simply because of the additional visual detail. And I'm not I'm not someone that cares that much about visuals, but it's interesting how it actually makes it for a much better experience just in terms of exploration, because I'm able to notice things that I wasn't able to notice on the Switch. Like my eyes just gloss over. Maybe it's age. Maybe it's, hey, Rurikhan, you're 40 years old. Your eyes don't work as good anymore. Like you're already wearing glasses and stuff. It's like, look at you, you're an old man. It's like, maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's not the platform. It's like, well, maybe it is the problem, but playing it in 4K sure as hell helps.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's great.
The question that a lot of people are asking me and asking of me is to make PC my main platform. Is that, where do you stand on that? Because like, I know you and I have spoken together, but I think maybe you haven't no, you have tweeted about it. So I guess most people know, but you can just like tell people what your plan is, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Switch. There's a few reasons. One, the reason why I made actually, looking back in retrospect, I made a lot of videos on Rise, considering how busy I've been. And also for the fact that I was prioritizing just jumping in and experiencing, a brand new Monster Hunter game with my daughter for the first time and just geeking in and doing that. And that was the right move. And that was awesome. Best summer of my life so far. Like that was really great. So like, you have a situation where it's like, okay, well, we don't have two PCs in the house. Like, well, she's got her iMac, I've got my iMac Pro, I've got a gaming PC I never touch. So it's not like she's in her room on her desk on a gaming PC. It's not like I'm gonna go buy her a gaming PC.
Time to buy a gaming laptop, though.
Or
gaming
that
laptop.
She even wants it. Well, the thing is like the Switch is if it was a bad experience or subpar, maybe, but it's not. It's actually really good, and I do believe that eventually we'll probably get a higher, like a successor to the Switch, and I'm sure it'll play good on there as well. I mean, it plays good enough that we're really happy with it. The problem is that the game has the photo mode, right? Yeah. And because of that, and because we role played our characters so hard with the stamps and the pictures and the costumes and everything, we have like, I have more, but she has like 500 hours of built up things of memories in that game, of pictures of her hunter's notes. She's like, look at, there's over 400 All-Mothers on here. Like, that those are good memories. And it's like, I don't want to step away from that even for a superior version of the game. Nah. So we decided we're going to stick with Switch just because we're fostering characters and save files that mean a lot to us. So even if they had but the thing is like, okay, well, if they had official cross save, would you do it? I'm like, no, because the Switch is also great because she can just play in the living room. She can play here. I could be over there. We could play in bed. We can, we've taken advantage of that. So yeah, I don't think, we're not going to be touching, the PC version, unfortunately, but I can't wait to see Sunbreak.
It's really good. Yeah. So Sunbreak, you're going to be sticking for the Switch. So for me, a lot of people have been asking me, and I'm real. I still haven't made up my mind because there's positives to both.
You're going to play both. You're going to play both.
I'm probably going to play both, but the thing is, I need to figure out which one I'm going to play more because, I mean, there's obviously the end game loop of a G rank is going to be considerably more demanding than the gameplay loop of a base game. So I don't know. I don't know yet. Like, one of the things that I'm thinking about is potentially, because there's a chance that we might get early copies. I don't know if we will or not, but if we do, I could potentially so I'll do my first playthrough offline on the Switch, and then I'll do the stream playthrough on PC because it's a better experience for the audience. Like, people love the crisp 14. I'm streaming at 1440p because my computer can't handle 4K, but yeah, it's just a much better viewing experience is what people are telling me, because it's just smoother and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know, that's currently the way that I'm looking at it. But after I'm done kind of like playing through the main story and I'm just grinding, that is the part that I really need to make a decision. Am I going to grind on the Switch? Because the thing is also, being a father, like, the portability of the Switch is a godsend. It's a complete godsend. Can I just get a dock that like supercharges my Switch, right? So that I can play the Switch and then I put it on the dock for PC and it's just like, here's 60 FPS. I don't even want the resolution. Just give me 60 FPS. That's all. Because like, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, those 4K textures. I don't even care that much about the 4K textures. I care about the silky smooth 60. And it's like, if I had a better screen, it even could be like 120 or 160, whatever. It's insane. It's very, very different. But yeah. So
you'll end up playing both.
Yeah, I'll probably end up playing both. That's the truth.
Plus, I'm not gonna have enough time to play both. I mean, it's gonna be a struggle for me to just play one game now. Like, I've got too many now, and I can't. I'm fully booked. I'm so booked right now, mentally and emotionally, that I'm not gonna play Elden Ring day one. I've decided against it.
Wow.
And I'm really looking forward to that game. But I'm gonna wait until maybe next year. I'm going to wait until they have the ray tracing patch, and maybe the end of the year, for Xbox Series X. I'll wait for that, Like, I don't have the time.
Yeah,
I just don't.
Feel you.
Work and parenting and then trying to, I want to create videos for Sunbreak. I'm passionate about that, and I'm going to love it, but I also have other games that I'm playing now that are going to take me well beyond this year.
I need you to make me a Zenny guide for Sunbreak, because that's the stuff that I suck at. I'm just like, just the other day, I went to rewatch like your Zenny Route 2.0 so that I could remember it and do it again, because I just had like an upsurge of mining crops on PC, and I was like, okay, I gotta go do that route so that I can get some money. And this brings us to my next topic, which is the grinding. I made a video yesterday. I think you watched part of it, at least. The cheating thing. So there's this is like, I know that people cheat, and here's an important thing that I brought up right at the start of the video. Is like, this doesn't just happen on PC, because a lot of people start having, I feel like, this negative schism towards PC players, and I kind of feel like that's not the right way to go about things, because PC players and console players, memes aside, right? Because like, PC master race, console peasant, and all of this stuff, right? There's obviously that to it, but it's like, all of that aside, PC gamers and console gamers, you're talking about essentially the same group of people, kind of, right?
Yeah, I also think people have a misconception, is that when they see someone playing on the PC, let's say like Monster Hunter or something, there's a lot of players who take advantage of mods, which are just purely visual. That are not, just because they're dealing with some of the mods, doesn't mean that they're modifying the game and their save data. They're just using a mod. Like, it doesn't mean that they would. In fact, I would say the vast majority probably would never touch it. Like, and it's kind of funny that some of the mods have become features. It's like the shinies having the little pillar of light was a mod from players in World, and ended up being the new way they do it in Rise, which I thought was kind of funny. But I think there's a misconception when they see something that's like, okay, that doesn't exist in the game. Okay, they're just modifying all of the data. It's like, no, there's a big difference.
Yeah,
we're talking about save data manipulation. We're talking about we're talking about gifting yourself the need never to play the game, which is the stupidest thing in my opinion. But hey, if it floats your boat, and if you're not going online, sure, I agree with you on that one.
It's like, I remember Kanta used to have like the, what's it called, that RPG from Nintendo. God damn it, Fire Emblem. You used to have like a female Fire Emblem avatar with the big assets. And he used to play with that. And it's like, well, that's not in the game, but obviously Kanta is not editing his save file. I mean, I think that's what most of us are aware of, right? So it's like, it's all about what you are doing with it. And here's the thing. I'm not even against people flat out cheating and breaking the game as much as they want. Because like, at the end of the day, it's your game. You can do whatever the hell you want. Like, cheat on it. Like, get all of your materials, get everything that you want, craft everything that you want, do whatever you want. The biggest problem is when you bring that online. Yeah, when you bring it online, I think that becomes a serious problem because you're affecting the way that other players play the game. And this is one thing that I want to get your opinion on because I've had a lot of pushback on this in terms of people don't agree with me, which is, okay, so materials, I think anyone can agree that, okay, that's cheating. If you're just like putting materials for monsters that either you've only hunted once and now you want to like duplicate the gemstone or whatever, like that's just straight up cheating. No, and that's fine if that's what you want to do, right? But what about consumables, right? Because a lot of people are like, well, consumables don't matter. I'm very curious what your take is on the consumables thing. Like someone giving themselves 9,999 consumables of all the consumables in the game. Where do you fall on that? I got you.
I mean, no. I mean, it is cheating. I mean, if you just want to talk about like definitions, of course, because you're modifying the play experience.
It's.
But how I feel about them, like, well, I don't like the idea of it because there's an online portion for this game. I don't like the idea of people messing with their files, anyways. But putting that aside, if you were to go online with something modified in your game, that would be one of the least offensive things you could do, because that isn't something that would change necessarily your behavior during a hunt.
Doesn't it?
Which means that the thing is, I don't think it would, because the game showers you with so many items anyways, consumables, that it changes the way you interact with your village, for sure. But do you actively actually on a hunt go out and are limited in the amount of potions or?
Yes.
Never. Like, you just go back to camp and get more.
See, that's
wait. Are we talking about changing your inventory number, or are you talking about like infinite max potions?
Infinite max potions.
Oh, well, that's a different. I thought you were talking about inventory.
What do you mean inventory? I'm confused.
Like if I have maybe, I don't know, 900 high potions or max potions, whatever. Like if I gave myself another 2,000, I don't have to act. I don't have to.
Do you have 900 max potions in Rise?
I had more than that at that point. I mass produced them.
No, because I don't. I have like maybe 100.
I would go back to Rondine every single hunt, and I would mass produce these things.
I did.
So
I
like,
didn't do that. But it's like the point
but
that
like,
I was making.
Are we talking about inventory? Or are we talking about like I down it, but it doesn't get consumed? That's
no. I'm talking just about inventory, just having a certain amount, like obscene amounts of everything. Because like I'm looking at it from the standpoint of me as a hunter, right? I have a certain amount of max potions that I've created for my resources. And whenever I use a max potion, like that means something. It's like, okay, I'm invested in this hunt. I'm investing these resources in this hunt. And I don't have 900 max potions. I don't know where you got the patience to do that, because that's a lot. I think I have like maybe 100, if that much. So to me, using a max
potion... I've never
thought
twice about using a consumable.
Yeah, see, to me, using a max potion, like that's an important thing. It means like I'm committing to this hunt. I'm using these max potions. It's a commitment thing, which is why like sometimes you'd see me, okay, so I've carded here and I want to have a clean hunt, so I'll abandon to preserve the resources. Not all the time. Sometimes I would abandon to preserve resources, right? And it's one of those things. I think if you don't have a limit basically on your consumables, I think you just have a tendency to tackle things differently. Like I'd probably, if I didn't have a limit on consumables, I'd probably go to every hunt and just like start spam trapping the monster. Like there's no downside. I'm not wasting any materials on this. I have 9,999 traps. What do I care? Go up to the monster.
You don't want to know how many. You don't want to know how many shock traps I have.
Yeah, I bet you have a ton. Like I have.
At one time, I had about 500.
Yeah, but the shock traps are also reasonably easier. But it's still, like I look at consumables and I think about consumables in a certain way, which is like, okay, so I'm using this and I'm using this and I'm committing this to this hunt and I'm committing that to that hunt. Especially like, for instance, right now at the start of Rise on PC, like I only capture if I have to. I think I have like 10 tranquilizing potions, tranquilizing bombs or something, because I just only recently unlocked the 3rd sub because I'm still very early on, right?
Yeah. So, well, early in the game is very different, right? Like HR 1 to 2 or 3, but yeah, that's like over in 1 day or 2 days, depending on
not really
how much you play.
Because like
it was a weekend for us.
I don't know, but anyway, the point of the matter is, to me, I feel like it changes the way in which you behave in a hunt if you don't have that thought of like, oh, my consumables and whatnot. And I think that changes.
I suppose, that might work. That might be the case for somebody. I never even thought about that being the case for somebody, but apparently it is. So that's interesting. Because like if you gave yourself infinite items, that definitely will change your behavior during a hunt, which I think is bad. Especially if you're going down like, because like, I don't need an orb, I don't need to sever the tail, I don't need to break it. It's like people play together in a certain way. There's a rhythm because there's certain goals that you're trying to achieve, and if you don't care about it, then you run into like what you were talking about, like which I've experienced in Final Fantasy, which is someone goes in there and they're just blazing forward, just ruining the experience for other people because they don't give a shit. Yeah. They're only in it for one thing only because they have tons of everything else. It's like, yeah, but we're here for those, and so can you like be with us and like experience the game with us, please? But I think I've never, like, I could see that for items, but I've never thought of that for consumables, except for really early game honey, maybe. But like Rise is so it makes it so trivial. They shower you.
I'm beginning
with
to
the
think
amount of items in that game. It's ridiculous.
I'm beginning to think I'm just bad at it then, because like I keep running out of honey in Rise, like, cause I'm just like healing so much. Yeah, I'm just thinking maybe I'm just bad. I'm just bad at the game.
I think maybe you just don't engage with the tedious
enough. Yeah,
farming of the. I after every single hunt, I go back to do stuff like that. I don't. Yeah, it's just part of the muscle memory. I don't. Run out. Like when it comes to like food coupons, I have over, you have 1,000 usually. Yeah,
on this game, it's very easy to get like the
everything's very
tickets.
easy. I thought in this game.
Yeah,
the only consumable that there's an exception for, in my opinion, for my own play experience, would be and this does not apply to Rise because they nerfed the hell out of the consumable, which was ancient potions. Ancient potions were always in limited quantity for me in past games.
Yeah,
they
don't
actually changed that in Iceborne, because once you had a festival, you can just like get a bunch of, like 1,000 of everything. But like those were all like, I wouldn't down an ancient potion unless I knew like this was going to be the hunt. But that's before they had restocking. So I don't know. Maybe I would be different now. But now like ancient potion, I don't even use. So it's like, why would I even touch that?
Yeah.
So it's like.
But I don't know. Interesting. It's just a weird thing.
But I don't like cheating. I don't like cheating in general because, like you said, you don't know, depending on the person, on how it affects their mentality about how they go in there, about how, patient they might be with other players that actually do want to get other stuff. Like it leads to some really weird situations.
Yeah, it's like to me, my biggest concern, because like a lot of people see this as me just like potentially preaching and being like gatekeepy or whatever. And to me, it's like, listen, you need to understand, I've already played this game. I finished the game. Like I've done all the events. I've done everything. Like I don't care what you do. I'm always concerned with pretty much every game that I'm invested in. One of my biggest concerns is always, what is the new player experience like? Yeah. What is it going to be for someone that is coming in completely fresh into this game? What are they going to encounter if they jump into the multiplayer portion of it? And I don't know, this is something that I've always had with every game, right? And it's like you have, from what I've heard, again, I don't know because I don't even look this stuff up, but from what people have told me, like the mod was available literally 1 hour after the game was live, where you could just like give yourself every material in the game. And I'm just like, I mean, come on, 1 hour.
At that point, there's not much reason to play.
Yeah, it's like, And here's the thing, for speed running and stuff like that, I get it. And I think that they should totally do it if that's what they want and whatnot. I just think that when you do stuff like that, jumping into public lobbies, I think that's a big no-no.
No, I
that's
agree
the one criticism that I have.
I think the moment you start fudging with your data, I think you need to only play with other people who fudge your data.
Yes, or people that don't mind that you've
or your friends or whatever, or people who are aware. But the actual random person who's thinking everyone's gonna I'm thinking about Final Fantasy too much, but I'm like, I'm going to lure him over here because I don't want everybody to get hit by it. Like, you got some guy just going gung-ho because he's got, 9,999 max potions in HR1, then that changes the experience. And you're like, what is up with this dude? It's a cooperative game, so people are like, it helps. No, because no one wants the experience to be too easy. They want it to be just right, which is the difficulty that they actually tuned for the game. Like, so I agree with you just from the fact that I think there's always opportunities for a change in mentality, even though people say there isn't. And this actually, it's a topic for another day. I don't want to talk about it today because it's just too big of a topic. But like, there was like a video I watched that was talking about piracy. I think it was Ratataskar or whatever that dragon's name is. But he had a video talking about the idea of, is it bad to pirate a game if you know 100% that you would have never bought in the game, regardless of how good it might have been, because there's no loss of sale or potential sale. And I'm thinking, just knowing that you can and you are willing to go and pirate something changes your mentality. So how can you even judge yourself and say I wouldn't have bought it? You're already tainted. You don't know that. Because now you're already so open to the idea that it just changes your behavior in ways that you don't know. So I don't know. I'm with you. I don't like cheating.
That's a very different topic.
Yeah, that's a very different topic. But it's the idea of, what? Here's another one. What was his name? Ranton or whatever. He had a really interesting video about, review codes and why he thinks it's a bad idea. It was a really interesting video. That's the guy who was like, he was a Shaolin kung fu monk, and then he's also like massive gamer. I think he left the Shaolin Temple. I
think I know who that is. Yeah, I think I've seen some videos from him. Yeah,
he had a video about the problem of the conflict of interest, review copies, and just where he feels that in general it changes subconsciously it can change your opinion about like, do I use an adverb that's just a little bit softer? Do I do this? Or, he's like, you don't know. You have to be aware that you are not 100% the exact same person you would have been had you bought it. Even though the difference might be negligible. Yeah. It's still different. And it's it's true.
Which is why it's always 1,000% important that you disclose when you do that stuff. So that people are aware. And not only that, I just straight up disclose, like, listen, I just straight up have a bias towards Monster Hunter. Like, even if I'm buying it myself or if I'm getting a review code, I just straight up have a bias for this game. Yep. It's just that simple because I like it.
I will forgive some heinous stuff because I like the good parts that much that I'm willing to let it slide.
Forgive is a strong word. I didn't forgive what they did with Kulfta Roth. I was not a happy man with what they did with Kulfta Roth, the random weapons, dude. Screw that. I'll still criticize it. I don't care. It's like it is what it is. I'm gonna bring up things that I don't like. It doesn't matter how much I like a video game. I'm still gonna bring up things that I don't like. That still doesn't mean that I'm unbiased. I'm still biased towards it because I still like the game.
I am, and out of all the complaints I've seen about Rise, because I love the game, the one that I would kind of actually, I don't know, it doesn't bother me, but I agree with it almost. And it might just be marketing and the way that they presented it, but it kind of sucks that so many of the cosmetics are purchasable items. Yeah, like, it would be nice if they had, like, a side quest line. If you did all of Minoto's quests and all of her requests, then, like, Generations, you're rewarded with her haircut or something, right? Yeah. The fact that you have to buy that sucks.
I think
if they had more balance, where they had enough in game, and this is like, oh, now you're giving me this on top of it, I think I'd be fine with, there's no problem. But the problem, I think, is it feels a little paltry in game to the fact that it's like, you didn't have you should probably put some of those in the actual game to get.
Yeah.
We need more. I agree.
I've mentioned multiple times in other episodes. It's like I feel like with this one, they're really pushing to see as much as they could get away with the online store, because
I think they went over the line a little.
The balance was a little bit skewed. I feel like in World the balance was fine. In Iceborne they went overboard with the room stuff, but because it was the room stuff, I don't care. I was barely in the room, so whatever.
Now they tried with player stuff, and I think they probably got good feedback, and maybe they'll pull it back in Sunbreak.
I feel like they should pull it back a little bit at least, because there was a lot. And here's the interesting thing. It's not like I was even that interested in a lot of the cosmetic stuff. It just felt like there was a lot. There was a lot of it. That was what
well, it's also
like
so marketing,
much.
right? Like, why would they release the paid DLC the day or two before the free quests come? Like, it was always like they talked about it first. They showed it first. It was always listed first. It came out first. It's like when you have me go and I have to go to the eShop or whatever, and I update the game. Like, it's not a huge task, but it is a small inconvenience. But it's kind of nice when I log on and it's like, oh, you got a new quest to do. Yeah. But when I log on and it's like, you'll get a new quest in 2 days, but here's some cosmetics you can go buy right now. It's like, was this update for cosmetics, or was it and the quest is a consequence, or is it the other way around? And presentation matters, you know. Yeah. So I think they screwed the pooch a little bit on that one. So hopefully they'll dial it back in Sunbreak.
But
and Mod, did I just bring us off topic? God damn.
Yeah, it's fine. I had one final topic for Monster Hunter. This is something that I've been thinking about over the last couple of days, and that is, what are your thoughts on like going back to monsters not scaling to solo? So, like, for instance, you look at GU, right? The G rank of GU does not scale to solo. You look at Iceborne, and that scales to solo. So, in a way, it's like you don't have to do co-op with anyone. And it's like you didn't have to do co-op in GU either, unless you're playing the Gunlance. Not even then. If you're skilled enough, you don't even with the Gunlance. I'm just not skilled enough with the Gunlance on GU. But it's like, if you are skilled enough, you still can do it solo, but it's much more efficient to actually get hunters to play together, right? Like, where do you stand on it? Because I'm thinking that one of the things that I'm thinking, if we haven't made things maybe too easy with the scaling to always scale down to one player, and we've kind of removed the necessity for co-op, whereas previously there was kind of like a necessity for co-op. But
I think there's
if you think of like 3 Ultimate, this necessity begins at high rank. Kinda.
Yeah. I think there's one key environmental difference that I have to consider. At first I would have said no, it shouldn't, like forcing people to play together is great and whatever, but then you think about it, like the problem is that in recent years online is not included. You have to pay separately for it. And that changes everything, in my opinion. Oh. There are people out there who cannot afford PSN to go play online.
I didn't even think about that.
To me, that's the big factor. And the fact that it's not free on every platform means that I actually am very happy that they have solo as a difficulty. I think, we're coming off of Rise, where I think the game was tuned to be but it was tuned to be very easy, right? Like, I don't think that Rise, for the majority, now we're getting the harder quest, I don't think it was balanced to be a necessarily difficult game. So I think, our opinion that, wow, solo's really easy, I think that'll be different in Master Rank. As things start to get a little bit more substantial to chew on, I think the solo is not going to be the easiest route, because just getting the attention drawn off you just so you can down a potion is a big deal. And that's going to be very helpful in Master Rank. But the problem is like online is not free. So I'm very happy that they have that option.
The thing
is,
or
if you want to play offline, right? You shouldn't feel like you're being punished for it.
The thing in terms of like the difficulty, which is like, if you'd have to make it harder than Iceborne. Because like Iceborne, I could do anything solo and it wasn't that hard. Like I guess some of the harder things that were still scaled to one player, potentially like Raging Brocky, I guess, was a little bit annoying in solo.
I think this is because you're really good at the game. I don't think it's gonna get harder. I know that's an unpopular opinion and people think it's a fallback argument, but I actually do think it's true. Like I don't think we'll ever get that. I think Latran and Fatalis were about the peak.
So what if I remove that barrier? Let's say, and this is like very much dreamland, you don't have to pay for online anymore. Where would you stand on that argument then? If the online price was not a barrier, where would you stand on the necessity of scaling, right? On having it like it's scaled for like two players or whatever by default, and you can go in solo, but it's going to take you longer.
I still think that it's good to have. I just remember when I first started Monster Hunter, it was Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and I was alone. There was no online in that game because it was on the 3DS. It wasn't on the Wii U yet. Yeah. And no one in my workplace was playing it. I had no friends that were playing it. And so trying to do G rank solo in that game brought me to tears at several points because I was so upset. Trying to beat Jen Moran and that goddamn HP pool he has with the normal progression weapons. It is very, very hard. And I would fail constantly. And then I finally, after a week, got it. Because I realized the difference of just going into his mouth to hit him for 2 hits made all the difference. And yeah, people say, well, you learned to get good. That was a good learning experience. Made you a better hunter. Most people would have just stopped playing the damn game.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you think about the new player experience, yeah.
And I'm going back just like playing Monster Hunter 4G or 4 Ultimate with Yuna. We stopped at G3 because she was burnt out by making one armor set. Because making Seregios' G-rank armor set took us like 20 hours or something. It was a lot. And you tell me, you do that solo. Or, you have to do that online.
I think one of the things to take into consideration there is like, at this point in time, she's also spoiled for choice, right? It's like, well, why would I play this old game when I can go play the new one?
True, but
back then, it's like, this is the game. This is the one that you have right now. Right?
Yeah. I will say this, though. I think you feel this way, and I feel we agree on this, is that it should always feel, because it's a cooperative game, it should always feel like an advantage to pair up with other people. And I think that's where, all the way back in World, I think that's where they got it wrong. And I talked about this in my videos as well, that the easiest route is always to go solo, and you are handicapping yourself if you just go on with randos. That feels counterintuitive to how it's usually been. It's been solos harder, but going in with a few extra people, much easier, better. So they need to find a way to balance it out a little bit better, it doesn't feel easier to just do it alone.
It's a weird thing, because to me right now, it's just I miss that feeling of actually needing other players, right? Like I miss that because, like, for instance, I can't go and play GU solo. I'm gonna get destroyed. And people can say, well, maybe get good, and it's like, well, yeah. The thing is, I like to play, and I'm always weird about my play styles. I like to play Alchemy Gunlance, and Alchemy Gunlance sucks for solo. It's real bad. It's not good. The whole point of Alchemy Gunlance is to support other players with SP and all of these crazy things that you can do. So it's like, if I want to go play GU, but here's the thing, even if I play a different web, like even if I play Sword and Shield, right? If I play Sword and Shield in GU, which is like the thing that I'm the best at in GU, I can probably solo most G-rank things. It'll take me a while, but I can solo most G-rank things. I can play, if it's a particularly challenging one, I'll swap the Adept, and it's not a problem at all, right? But at the end of the day, it's still way better if I do it with other people. Whereas if you go to Rise, the difference is, okay, I can play this on easy or I can play this on very easy. Like that's the difference, right? I go to Rise and it's mostly easy times unless I'm doing like a Super, Apex, whatever. And at that point, if I bring other players in, what ends up happening in a lot of situations that people are saying is that well, it's actually better to go alone because most people just get destroyed. It's like, it's a weird thing. So on the hardest quest, you want to go solo because other people die too much.
Yeah.
And on the easy quest, you want to go solo because it takes a little bit longer. It's a little bit more challenging.
Yeah. I don't think they figured it out yet. I think
balance,
pre-world, it was always the opposite way, and they literally flipped it on its head. Where now going in with more players is more risky because, you're going to get a wipe or something, right? Now, I will say that, forcing people to get together and then having that appreciation that they're there with you and then getting over it. I'm talking for firsthand experience now with Final Fantasy XIV. I've never experienced this mechanic in a game where you have to play with other people because of the way that the MMO rules go. And I can tell you, it's very cool.
Yeah, exactly.
It's special. It's different. But I will also tell you, think about trying to play the game. Think about like trying to play a Switch game or a game 10 years from now when no one is online. Most games are just going to become unplayable. And so from a game preservation standpoint as well, having the ability to beat it and get through the content solo is actually kind of important.
I'm just thinking like, so one of the things that I would like to see, like thinking about this and, while we were discussing it, one of the things that I would like to see is like, okay, so for one, there needs to be an advantage for playing with more players, right? Because that kind of gives you that drive.
Totally.
But agree, it needs to be optional, right? Because you still want people to be able to solo it. And I'm thinking about a solution here, and the solution is, for starters, monsters need to be able to have better AI to deal with 2 players. Because right now you put 2 players in there, and it's like, okay, is he targeting you? Then I'm going to go ham and smash everything and break everything and whatever. Is he targeting me? It's the other way around. You go and you break everything and smash everything, right? And we can kind of have the back and forth and just completely destroy the monster, no problem. So the monster is going to need better AI to deal with 2 players, maybe even different attack patterns if there's 2 players there. But now you're like, okay, so now you just made it harder. So where's the benefit? And the benefit could come from that system that I've talked about. I've probably talked about this system like a million times. Imagine if at the end of the quest, in the reward screen, you have your rewards, I have my rewards. We don't get more because it's 2 players. We get the same as if it was solo, because if you get more, there's like, okay, you always want to play with 2 players because you get more rewards. What you could do is, because you're playing with a friend, you could be like, hey, I got an orb. I don't need it. You want the orb? And you could trade the orb to your friend.
You're thinking about greed, pass, or need.
Something, no, not greed, pass, or need, because that is going to be like, you still each get your loot.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's so often that like you're helping someone because they need the material and you get the material and they don't, right? Whereas this way, it's not that you get more loot, it's that you're able to better target the loot because somebody got it and you didn't, and they can just like, hey, here you go. Now you don't have to farm as much, and you had a harder experience, but you had a better chance at getting better loot. I think that could be the thing. If they would implement something like that, I think that could be like a completely...
That's a cool idea, yeah.
I think that could
because
be like
you guys, the hunters can only bring back X amount of materials, right? So not changing that is good, but the idea that you were on this hunt and you're physically with them, and before you guys come back and disband, you say, okay, well, I'll give you the horn if you give me that. Like, I really need that.
Yeah.
And the veteran can be like, yeah, I'll give it up to you, and you have some camaraderie, optional. It could be nice. I mean, it's better than just having increased rates, because then you're disadvantaging the person who can't.
Who's playing online. Solo, exactly. Because like that's the thing. Because the thing that you really woke me up to is because it's something I don't even think about, and I probably should, which is I just have like my PlayStation Plus running, the Nintendo Online running. Recently, I even got Game Pass that I haven't even played a single game on, so it's a waste of money. I'm going to turn that off. But it's like, it's a waste of, by the way, I'm not saying Game Pass is bad. I'm saying for me personally that I haven't had time to play anything.
Well, it's like if you have a Netflix subscription and for 2 months you didn't watch it,
it's a waste of money.
You should have canceled it and then resubscribed, right? It's one of those things. Toggle.
But that's the thing. It's like I didn't even think too much about it, but like now that you've said, it's like, there's a lot of players that can't afford to have the online, and to have the necessity of co-op is definitely a problem. But I still want there to be something there that gives you a benefit, but it needs to be optional. And if we do it like that, I think it would be really, really cool. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah, but they should think about it. I really would love to see them come up with a good idea. Like, we're not going to talk about today because we're already over time. But when we do get around to doing a podcast where we talk about Final Fantasy 14, there's some really good ideas in there about how to incentivize people to play together and help each other out.
Yeah.
So, but without punishing people, you know, I think that's the most important thing here.
Pretty much.
But yeah, but I think you know, I will admit my own ignorance on the subject. For years, I didn't consider that either. The idea about purchasing online, because I'm privileged in that I'm old enough that I have the money and I can buy the things, and I'm in a, you know, a good enough situation where I can afford it. But I think it was someone's like, I was talking to somebody, I think it was on Discord or something, and it was just a random comment out there. It's like, well, yeah, just get that and get the online. You're good to go. It's like, well, I only play solo because I can't afford online. Like, I can only buy one game a year, or maybe it's a. I've realized there's a lot of parents, especially in Japan. Yuna's got friends that they'll buy them a game for Christmas or their birthday. They will not buy them Switch Online because the parents don't understand gaming, and they're like, wait, you want me to pay extra money just so you can do something different with the game I already just bought you? No, and they won't pay for it. They say use your allowance. So, like, she's got friends who do not have online.
I remember.
Like, okay, I'd never really thought about it, but that's an issue.
I remember back in the day that I wanted to play World of Warcraft, and you needed to pay it monthly, and I was not, like, financially independent yet. So I go to my parents like, hey, can I have money to play this game every month? And my father's like, that's a good joke. You got jokes. You want to pay money every month to play? You're insane. You think money grows on trees, kid?
Yeah. And I have to call this out there because I think it's important, because there's enough people who don't seem to get it, that it's not just a question of, oh, he's broke or he could just sell off some of his other games and go buy it. It's like, I don't think people truly understand until you move out of your own country how screwed up
some places are.
Some places are. Like, to some people, buying the game is an entire month's salary, like an actual living wage salary. Yeah. Like, it's not that simple, guys. You know, it's not like, well, just don't have the lattes at Starbucks. Boom. It's like, it's not. Yeah, no. Maybe in your country, you know, that must be nice to say that. It's a position of just privileged ignorance. Yeah.
Even just in the Davi Vosk podcast, remember how we talked about he bought a Switch and that was like a full month's wage to get a Switch in Brazil. Like, it's insane if you think about it. It's like it's not just $300 or whatever it is that the Switch is worth. No, in Brazil it's probably like 3 times, 4 times that. Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, them's the prices. It's like different prices, different countries, and just different living conditions. And people just have like different responsibilities as well. So some people might think, well, I mean, whatever, just don't drink your lattes. But somebody might be like, what, you mean don't feed my children? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. I guess I can get my children to skip a couple of meals and then I can have like online or whatever. It's like, it's not that. It doesn't work like that. Everybody has different circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing also is, like, I've been playing games that are 7 years old. That seems to be a theme. I'm not planning it that way, but apparently 2013 was like the best year in gaming, and I was not aware because I was too busy playing Monster Hunter 4.
No, it was 2017. But you're forgiven.
But like, well, you get like Dragon's Dogma, we got Soul Sacrifice, we got Tokiden Kiwami, Final Fantasy 14. Everything came out in 2013.
A lot of good stuff. What the hell? Definitely, yeah.
But I'm also realizing from when you have things that are like, and I just think back to my experience with 3G, like when you have things that require you to be with other people, it doesn't do good for the aged game. You know, if you're going back to play a game that is 10 years old, because games are viably good to play. I mean, games are really good. It's not like we're picking up Space Invaders, which is still fun to play, mind you. Like not every publisher is going to do the work to put these on recent consoles. I mean, bless Microsoft and their efforts to do that, but like some games you just won't be able to. And so like being like I guess Freedom Wars, I haven't played it yet. I bought it, but apparently some of the back half of the game kind of requires you to be online with other people.
I never played to that point, but yeah.
But they shut down the server, so it's like, am I going to hit a wall when I get to the end of that game? I don't know.
It might happen.
I hope not.
And here's the thing, it's becoming more and more important to preserve these games because with the advent of NFTs in gaming, it's like, well, we're all going to be playing our backlogs a whole lot. That's for damn sure.
Because I ain't touching that stuff.
All the publishers going like, NFTs! We can launder money now. This is great.
But it's a good topic to think about. I think it's an interesting subject.
But anyway, guys, that is going to be this week's Third Fleet podcast. Thank you all very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this episode, hit the like button. If you didn't enjoy the episode, hit the dislike button, but YouTube doesn't care because they're not going to show it. And, subscribe, bell notification icon, all that jazz. Links to all of Gaijin stuff in here. What's the next video you're working on?
None.
You're too busy playing 14.
I'm letting myself go down a rabbit hole. So I have, they're going to make Final Fantasy 14 purchasable again on January 25th, which is my birthday, actually.
Oh.
I got lucky. I actually was able to get the game and get an account before they put on those restrictions, so I didn't have that issue. But they're not going to be opening up trials again. But if you have the financial luxury to just say, you know what, I don't need a trial account, I'm just going to buy it, you can do that on January 25th. So I don't want to make any video talking about my experience with Final Fantasy until other people can hear that or maybe see it and go like, okay, maybe I want to try it, and they can't because right now they can't. So it would be kind of an ass move.
It's like about it. Like you've already tortured people enough with Soul Sacrifice.
The Vita, right? Yeah, it was an awesome game, and then I realized most people can't get the Vita, so I was like, okay, well, fine, I'll upload the entire thing so you can at least that one. It's the story, and like I'm not uploading the entire story of Final Fantasy. It would be like 1,000 hours of playlists. I'm sure people have already done that. So
yeah,
and it's not the same. It's one of those games. It's not the same if you watch it. You got to do it.
Yeah,
those breathing areas in between events is really important. And when you watch them back to back, it's like movies, right? When you do like a marathon, you watch like the sequels and one after another. There's like no time gap in between stuff, and so like some things come off really bad because it's like, no, this is not like coming back to old friends you haven't seen for a year. This is like, oh, I just saw them last week. It's like, no, you're binging it. Stop it. Like it's the time in between episodes is actually really important. It's like,
yeah. But yeah, that's going to be it, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Stay strong. Stay safe.
Don't go online if you're cheating your save data.